hypertension, heart disease, heart attacks, cancer, that people started looking into these alternate treatment modalities, that what else we can do besides taking medications to keep ourselves healthy. So there has been tremendous emphasis and research looking into fasting. And if you just Google, benefits of fasting, you'll be amazed how many articles and videos you'll come across collecting last 10-15 years of research. And every piece of research shows that fasting has tremendous benefit for human body. Most of the research focuses on what is called intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting could be either a person drinks or eats something in the morning and they do not eat anything for about 10-12 hours, so in a stretch, and then they resume eating. So this is one form of fasting. The other form of fasting is that a person does not eat anything for 24 to 48 hours except taking some fluids and juices, etc. So that is the second type of fasting. And then the third type of fasting is where people, they fast in a stretch for a number of days, only taking fluids in between. So all these three types of fastings have been scientifically looked at. And the health benefit of all these types of fasting is overwhelming. And alhamdulillah, when we fast for those 30 days, we actually have all these three types of fastings built into our fast. Because we fast for 13-14 hours a day, we fast continuously for 30 days. And we reap all the benefits. So I'll quickly go over the maybe 6-7 common medical illnesses, medical conditions, where fasting has been shown, scientifically has been shown to be of extreme benefit. Let's first talk about diabetes. Diabetes, if plague was the disease of 19th century, I think, and influenza was the epidemic of 20th century, I think diabetes is the epidemic of 21st century. Right now, about 10 million people in United States have diabetes. 10 million people. And about 30 million people are pre-diabetic. So these are people who are heading towards developing diabetes. So these are called pre-diabetic people. So you can imagine that 1 out of every 10 person has diabetes or is pre-diabetic. And if there is one illness that scares me the most from a medical point of view, it is diabetes, because it is very insidious, so it's very slow. The person doesn't feel terrible, like heart attack, for example. But it very silently keeps eating on the organs, the kidneys, the nerve endings, the small vessels. And it is difficult to control. So this is the first disease the scientists looked at. And there has been quite a bit of research showing that both intermittent fasting, whether for 1 day or off and on days or in a stretch, all this is beneficial for people who have diabetes. And it does two main things. Number one, it increases the production of insulin in their bodies. And we know that what really diabetes is, that for some reason, people do not either produce enough insulin. Insulin is like the carrier that takes blood sugar molecules from your bloodstream and takes them to inside of the cells where they're utilized. So it's like a carrier or a boat. So you can imagine if a person does not have enough insulin, there'll be enough blood sugar, there'll be enough sugar in the blood, but they're not able to take it to inside the cells where it is utilized. And that's really diabetes in a nutshell. So people usually have two problems. Either they do not make enough insulin, or they develop resistance to insulin. So that means the insulin is not effective enough to actually take this transportation back and forth of the glucose molecules. So in these studies done with fasting, at the conclusion of research, whether it was intermittent fasting for a day or for a couple of days or in a stretch, all these patients had two benefits. Number one, their insulin levels increased and their resistance to insulin decreased. And subhanallah, we already have 30 days of fasting. For 1400 years we have been practicing it, reaping the benefit, not realizing what health benefit fasting has. But now we know. The second important thing we found in last 10-15 years is inflammation. And you're all aware of inflammation, that when you are hurt, you fall down or you twist your ankle or you hurt, all of a sudden the blood rushes and there is swelling, redness, and tenderness and pain. That is acute inflammation. But there is also a silent type of chronic low-grade inflammation that goes on in the body. And it is thought that it is this inflammation that actually predisposes the cells, and especially certain arteries, like arteries of the heart or arteries in the brain, makes them more rough, if you will, so that it's very easy for the plaque formation. So one of the thinking about people having heart attacks is that these people are more prone to have this chronic inflammation, and that leads to thrombus or atherus formation, that clogging of the arteries, and then the arteries can be blocked. So this is another area where fasting has been looked at scientifically. And again, same thing. Intermittent fasting, whether done on a daily basis or off and on basis or in a stretch, decreases the inflammation. And you can actually check it. There is a protein called C-reactive protein. So in fact, most of the doctors, when you go to your primary care doctor for your annual physical exam, they will check your C-reactive protein levels. So C-reactive protein is an indicator of chronic inflammation in the body. So in these subjects who were exposed to, in the research during fasting, they saw that their C-reactive protein levels decreased after fasting. And alhamdulillah, we already reap the benefit because we fast. The third thing I want to talk about is high blood pressure, because that is also very common. Almost 20% of population has high blood pressure. And high blood pressure can lead to heart attacks. It can lead to heart dilating and not working properly. High blood pressure, persistent high blood pressure eventually leads to kidney failure. In fact, the two most common reasons for kidney failure are diabetes and high blood pressure. And this itself has become a very, very big problem, because right now almost 3 million people in the United States are on dialysis. So they have to hook themselves up with an artificial machine on alternate days to have their blood cleaned, because their kidneys are not working properly. So this has also become a big problem. So hypertension is a big contributor there. Hypertension also causes stroke. When the blood pressure is elevated above certain threshold, the small arteries can burst, and that is what is called stroke in the brain. So hypertension can also be considered one of the deadly diseases. And again, same thing, in all this research that has been done in 10-15 years, people who fast, you measure their blood pressure before they start fasting, and at the conclusion of fasting, their blood pressure decreases automatically. Subhanallah. I came across one research, this was done in Muslims during the month of Ramadan. And the The scientists, they looked at a group of about 300 people who fasted for 30 days. This study was done in England. And after 30 days, they saw that actually their blood pressure improved and their blood sugars improved on their own, just because of fasting. That's how tremendous benefit fasting has. Fasting also has a tremendous benefit on weight. And we know that obesity has become an epidemic actually across the world. Every country is now dealing with the epidemic of obesity. In the United States, 68% of people are overweight. 68%, that is 2 out of 3 people are overweight. And 50% people are obese. So people are overweight, and then people are over that limit to meet the requirements or definition of obesity, morbid obesity. That's how prevalent obesity has become. And obesity is not just a cosmetic issue. Obesity itself has increased risk of developing diabetes, high blood pressure, all forms of cancer. They're related to obesity. Of course, it causes joint pains, aches, makes the person, less functional. So that was the next thing looked at, whether fasting has any benefit in these people. And of course, that makes the most sense, that of course, when you restrict calories, the weight will reduce. But this is not just the end of story. You'll be surprised that actually fasting leads to not only weight reduction, but actually reduction in fat and increase in your muscle mass. So this is something we would have never intuitively thought, that fasting can be so beneficial. So it's not just weight reduction per se, that your body fluids are lost, or maybe losing some fat, but the fat deposits get mobilized, and actually the muscle mass, the ratio between muscle and fat changes in the favor of muscles becoming more. So that's another benefit of fasting, subhanallah. And as I alluded to earlier, that many forms of cancer are thought to be either because a secondary effect of either obesity, or that the inflammation or C-reactive protein high levels, or there are other mechanisms that we have not fully understood, but the incidence of cancer is also on rise for last almost 20-30 years. And fasting has been shown to decrease almost all types of cancers. This research has only been conducted in mice, that's where most of the basic research is done. But to extrapolate the benefits of fasting into human beings, people think that fasting definitely has positive effect in decreasing the incidence of cancer, all forms of cancer. Because if fasting decreases your weight, your blood sugar, brings your blood pressure down, C-reactive protein levels down, of course it will have effect on fasting, on cancers. The next thing people have looked at is memory and dementia. And this is also becoming a big problem in the United States, because as the population is growing older and more people are living in their 60s, 70s and 80s, so dementia is very much an age-dependent disease. That means people at the age of 70 and older, there is 5% chance of developing dementia. And at age 80, there is almost 10% chance of developing dementia. So as people are living older, we are seeing more and more people who are developing dementia. Right now, about 5 million people in the United States have dementia. And we spend about $200 billion every year to take care of these people. Just the direct health care cost of taking care of people with dementia is about $200 billion. Not to mention the actual cost or the the efforts put in by caregivers, the family members, the spouses, the children, the other loved ones who have to take care of these people, because dementia is a very debilitating illness. So this is also a tremendous focus of research, and to everybody's surprise, when they looked at the effects of fasting on memory and cognition, they saw that there is a tremendous benefit. And it is thought that this benefit is actually manifested through two mechanisms. Number one, remember I talked about that chronic low inflammation in the body and in the brain that we can measure through C-reactive protein. So the thinking is that when you get rid of that low-grade inflammation, the neurons are healthier, they can grow. And not only that, in my studies they have shown that fasting actually leads to neuronal regeneration. We used to think, when I was in medical school, we were taught that once neurons die, they cannot regenerate. But after almost 2 decades of research, we are finding out that there are some neurons that actually can regenerate, or as they're close to dying, you can stop that degenerational process and you can reverse it. So imagine fasting leading to improved memory and cognition. Again, it is counterintuitive, but a lot of students will tell you that when they're studying during exam times, they actually don't care about eating, because they feel that if they're full stomach, they feel sleepy and drowsy and groggy and they can't concentrate as much. And this is very true, that empty stomach actually increases your memory and cognition. Again, it's counterintuitive, but that's really what it is. So you can see, fasting has tremendous benefit, health benefits across the board. We talk about diabetes, inflammation, heart, blood pressure, obesity, weight, cancer. Fasting also, very interesting, people who like to build their bodies, they know the importance of growth hormone. So this is a hormone that children mostly secrete, and this leads to the development of muscles and bones. So this is the hormone that induces growth in human beings. So the peak levels of growth hormone are when kids are in 15, 16, 17 years old, because that's really where the peak growth takes place, in the form of muscle development, bone development, and other organ development. And growth hormone, you can imagine that growth hormone has been a subject of research for the last 30, 40 years for old age, that what if we can increase the levels of growth hormone in people 40 and older? What will happen? Tremendous benefits, growth hormone. It is not available, it is available through prescription for certain medical conditions, because growth hormone can also have certain deleterious effects. So FDA doesn't want everybody to be taking growth hormones. But if you can, you can be muscular and big even at 40 and above. And what do you guess, what are the effects of fasting on growth hormone? It increases growth hormone, yes. Yeah. Fasting actually increases. Remember earlier I talked about that in obesity, when people fast, of course their weight will go down, and you will think that it is because they lose fluids or they lose some of the fat. But I said actually their muscle mass increases. So how does their muscle mass increase? Because they are fasting. You would think the muscle mass, they are wasting. No. It leads to increase in growth hormone that leads to their muscle increasing. Subhanallah. These are, and now imagine that what we know, the health benefit of fasting today is not end of the story. People 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now will continue to benefit, to understand more and more the health benefits of fasting. I have been given 2-minute warning. Okay, so what I will do now is give you some pointers how to eat during this month. Best habits that you can practice to remain healthy and reap the full benefits of fasting. Let's start with the morning time. We need about, an average person needs about 6 to 8 glasses of water. So these are 8 ounces of water. So if you drink a 16-ounce bottle, we need at least 4 or 5 of these bottles in 24 hours. So during the month of fasting, when you first wake up for tahajjud, drink a bottle of water. So that's 2 glasses you have already done. Do your tahajjud. When it is time to eat sahur, there are 2 things you want to avoid. Number 1, salty foods. And number 2, too much caffeine, tea or coffee. Because salt is a diuretic. The more salt we eat, the more water we need. And of course, during fasting, we cannot drink water. So it will make you excessively thirsty. So one way to ward off this thirst is not to use anything salty at suhoor time. That's number 1. Number 2, caffeine itself, which is the main constituent of coffee and tea, is also a diuretic. It makes you go to bathroom. Everybody knows that when you drink coffee, in about 2-3 hours you want to rush to the bathroom because naturally caffeine is a diuretic. So avoid taking caffeine at suhoor time. If you like to drink coffee and tea, and many of us do, shift it to iftar time. Just make a 12-hour shift and have your coffee or tea, if you want to have those beverages at iftar time, because then it is okay. So start with 2 glasses of water, no tea or coffee, excessive tea or coffee, maybe a little bit is okay, and not eat too many salty foods. The best food really you want to have some honey, because it's a form of sugar that it releases over a period of time, instead of like simple sugar that goes in your blood like this. So honey actually releases sugar over a period of time. You want to take some milk, it is very healthy. Another good thing to eat at suhoor time is banana. All the Olympian athletes will tell you that if there is one food they can eat, and that's what they actually only eat during their Olympian, performance, is banana. It is rich in food, rich in calories, but the type of calories that it is released over a period of time, it has potassium, it has other important minerals, so that will, keep you going. Also, maybe cereal. It's a good thing to eat. A bowl of cereal, mixed nuts, mixed with fruits. And try to not eat too much, because no matter how much you eat, by 10 or 11 you will be feeling hungry anyway. But why feel groggy and drowsy and thirsty and miserable by overeating at suhoor time? On the other hand, if you can moderate what you eat in the morning, you will stay fresh, you will not feel as thirsty, and your day will go really by real fast. Now, at the time of iftar, and during the daytime when you feel hungry and thirsty, that is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we can then empathize with people who do not have food to eat or who not have access to water. So those hunger pangs are very good to remind us how blessed we are, and also that even though we have access to food, we are not eating because we want to obey and please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are good reminders, for us. At the time of iftar, there is nothing better to break your iftar with what the sunnat is. I could not find anything, and that is either water or dates, and if none of these is available, then salt. because you have been thirsty all day. You haven't had anything to drink for about 16 hours, and your body is dehydrated. So what is it that you need the most is water. And your body has been deprived of calories and energy. What does your body need is some quick, sugar. And that's a perfect combination. You break your fast with dates, and you drink a little bit of water. And it is very important to not eat too much right at the onset, because your body has been in a shutdown mode for almost 16 hours. Your blood has shifted from your gastric areas to your muscles and other parts of the body. And that's how you have been able to function and work. Now imagine that all of a sudden you eat too much food. What will happen? The blood will completely rush into the intestines and stomach and that area, leading to not enough oxygen and blood to brain and other parts of the body. So everybody sitting here can identify that when they eat too much at iftar time, all of a sudden they feel groggy and sleepy and not as alert and kind of feel a little bit miserable, really. They wish they hadn't eaten too much. So just break your fast easily with water and dates and a few other things, and then pray Maghrib, because that's sufficient time for your body to start redistributing blood. And eating sugar also does an amazing thing, and that is it actually induces insulin. So it prepares your body to receive food. So that's another benefit of eating dates, is that the body is beginning to it has already started secreting insulin in the anticipation that now there'll be additional food coming and I can handle it now. So it's a perfect way to prepare your body to receive more food that you can eat after praying Maghrib Salat. And again, try to eat healthy food at that time, rich in calories. Always you eat some proteins in some form of meat, maybe chicken or fish or beef, or other things, a little bit of fruit, salads, greens, because you want to have some fiber in your diet. And before you go for Taraweeh, drink at least another bottle of water at that time, because now you have already consumed almost like 2 bottles of water by that time, 2 or 3. And then during Taraweeh, most of the people will experience that they feel thirsty, which is very normal and natural. And always keep a bottle of water with you that you can drink during prayer, so that you have sufficient fluids. And just before you go to sleep, try to drink at least 1 or 2 more glasses of water. So that will suffice your fluid requirement for 24 hours. So if you stay in this routine, inshallah, you will not be dehydrated. And you will be able to take in sufficient water at the right amount, periods of time that you are not dehydrated. So with that, I'll conclude. وَآخِرُ دَعْوَانَا أَنِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Like I promised, I kept it short, and I'll have time for question and answer. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. To see Dr. Zia, it costs money. To see an imam, you go to masjid, you can find him. So today you have him, inshallah. We'll give him a few questions, inshallah, 1 or 2, so that we can proceed to the next sessions. Raise your hand if you have a question. Brother Barak could give you the mic. Go ahead, so give it to the brother.
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
If a
rahmatullahi wa
person is a
barakatuh.
diabetic, should he or she fast?
There is no contraindication to fasting for a diabetic. In fact, like I said earlier, a diabetic person has tremendous benefit to gain from fasting. However, there are type of diabetics who are called brittle diabetics. So these are people where their blood sugar levels can fluctuate very quickly. And these blood sugar levels can go in either direction. So they can have tremendous increase in their blood sugar. It can shoot to 200, 300 all of a sudden. Or more dangerously, their blood sugar levels can fall too low, to 60, 50, even 40. If these people are from that class, the brittle diabetics, they should really consult with their doctor to see how their medications can be switched around so that they can still fast. There are medications that actually can be readjusted to account for eating at sahur time and in iftar time and not eating anything in between. So your medication regimen does need to be changed and modified so you can fast.
Shukran.
And same thing is true for somebody who has blood pressure. The blood pressure medications, how much you take, the dosage and the type can be readjusted and reconfigured so you can fast.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Is there any common disease that prevent people from fasting, like any disease that common?
This was one example, the brittle diabetics, because their blood sugars can drop too quickly. The other people are maybe people on dialysis, kidney that I talked about, their kidneys have failed, so they have to go through dialysis every other day. And the third category would be extreme old age. In old age, people cannot go without eating or drinking in a longer stretch of time because they get very weak and dizzy. So those would be like the common 3-4 classes of people.
Inshallah, you can stay until Isha with us, right? So the brother, okay, woman's right. Give them one question, inshallah. Okay.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Can pregnant women fast during Ramadan?
A pregnant woman?
Yeah, pregnant.
Yeah, of course she can fast. As long as she can handle it, of course she can fast. Keep in mind that the fetus actually has a preference when it comes to draining glucose, all the nutrients and everything from mother. So because a mother is fasting, the fetus will not suffer. It is the mother who might suffer. So if the mother can handle it, of course she can fast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So inshallah we're running out of time. Dr. Zia Uddin will be here until Isha. Inshallah you can speak to him in the lobby. Tomorrow also another doctor is coming, Fayaz Malik from Murfreesboro will be here inshallah. Now we'll give a short session to Brother Salah, the president of the board at the masjid, to give a small presentation of the projects that the masjid is about to serve their community. Yes, you have 5 minutes, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First, I'd like to welcome you to the Islamic Center of Tennessee and thank all of you for your support. Without you, we will not be sitting here today. I really appreciate your support and help, inshallah. Today, inshallah, I just want to give you a brief summary of our plan for the next 2 to 3 years, inshallah. I was supposed to give a full seminar and question and answer, but we ran out of time. So inshallah, we will arrange another day for that. Today, inshallah, I will start with 3 things I want to talk about. The ICT plan for the next 2-3 years, the financial for the first quarter of 2019, and our budget for 2019-2020, inshallah. As you see here on the screen, this is, we have 11 halls. We already finished the 2 prayers room in phase 1, and the theater and Crescent Cafe was done in phase 1, alhamdulillah. The existing multi-purpose room, we're going to change it to a school. It's going to be 2 floors, 14 classrooms with the elevator, inshallah. The back building, it's 22,000 square feet of space. The ICT community has started phase 2. We finished the first hallway, which is to your right. It's 5,600 square feet. It's going to be gym 1, which is a basketball, and a multi-purpose room, like you see here on the screen. Inshallah, within 6 to 8 months, we're going to continue our plan. The next hall will be indoor soccer, fully indoor soccer use only, inshallah ta'ala. Then we're going to do the youth center, which is going to be a hall for martial art, and the other hall is going to be for the youth lounge. After that, inshallah, we're going to do the daycare, and we're going to do a catering kitchen to support us for Ramadan and all our events and Jum'ahs, and it's going to be open for public as a waqf for the Islamic Center of Tennessee, inshallah. This is the plan for the classrooms. We're going to have 6 classrooms in the first floor, inshallah. And we're going to start with 3 in the second floor. And after that, we're going to extend all that lined up area. Is going to be added another 4 classrooms. This is the first hall that we finished. You can look at it when you leave the theater if you'd like. It's already done. Alhamdulillah. This is just an image of the youth center, how it's going to be. And this is an image of the martial art. And this is an image of the commercial kitchen. And this is an image of the daycare. So this is the plan for the back building, inshallah. Okay, phase 2, like I talked about, is going to be the gym, the youth lounge, the martial art. And phase 3 is going to be the 14 classrooms and 5 management offices on the second floor. And the commercial wing will be phase 4. Okay, this is our profit and loss statement for the first quarter of 2019. As you see, we have all the expenses, contract labor, and everything, repairs, donations, electricity, gas, internet, school, office supplies, payroll, religious department, teacher salaries. We were short $28,000 that was covered by the board, Jazahumullahu khair. Not including the construction, the ICT board is discussing sponsoring the youth center, which is going to cost about $300,000 to $400,000. We already spent $65,000 in the first hall, inshallah. Go ahead. Okay, phase 3 is going to be the classrooms, the 14 classrooms, and inshallah this Ramadan will fund to collect for that. We're going to fund, we have 2 fundraisers. One is going to be for the operation expense, and the other is going to be to start our phase 3 project, which is classrooms. We're not going to fundraise for the youth center. Like I said, it's going to be sponsored by the board of the ICT. Let me give you an idea just about, usually we have 4 fundraising a year, 2 in Ramadan and 2 in March. We had little issues with collecting the pledges. Last year we collected 30% of the pledges only. So to make it easy in our community, we decided to cancel the fundraising in March. So we're surviving right now with 1 fundraising since last Ramadan. We did not have any fundraising after that. So inshallah, I'm counting your support. This Ramadan, we're going to have 2 fundraising, one in the second week of Ramadan, and one in the last week of Ramadan, inshallah. I don't have a lot of time. I want to give Dr. Imam Usama the time here, inshallah, but we will, within the next month, inshallah, during Ramadan, we're going to have a town hall meeting to address all the issues and listen to your input and any ideas that you guys suggest, inshallah, will be here for you. Jazakumullah khair for coming, and inshallah we'll see you soon.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Salah. So, last but not least, our final speaker is Imam Osama Bahlul.
I'm here.
You are here?
I'm fine.
You make it easier on me, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm fine. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward the brothers. Make dua for the mic. خلاص this is working.
This needs to be turned on.
جزاكم الله خيرا brother Salah and the brothers and the sisters in the board for working hard, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward everyone and make Ramadan easy for all. Dr. Zia already made us excited about fasting, and I feel like it is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to fast. Imam Ahmad asked me to highlight issue related to zakah, and zakah is a sensitive and beneficial part of our religion. We assume often that zakah is good for the needy, and when the Sharia design any part within the religion really has a benefit for both. If you are a wealthy individual, it's good for you to give zakah. You will prevent bad jealousy, you will promote a stable society, you create really an inclusive society. It's good for you. No one can raise his kids by himself. If you are very wealthy and your neighbors are very poor, your kids will be affected by whatever those kids are missing in their life. I am not here to give a general talk about zakah. I want to be very specific, and it's up to you to ask about anything. This is what they ask me, and this is exactly what I am going to do. As far as the time, I think we have 20 minutes. Yeah, I will stop when Imam Ahmad asked me to stop. When they announce this, some people send it to me a few questions. I think we might start with them. I received a question today about the lawfulity of giving zakah to the parents. Someone said to me, can I give zakah to the parents? It's a question I receive every year, and one of the questions, while people have the right to ask about anything, it's a question a little bit iffy. I don't feel comfortable with it, simply because it's not understandable, at least in my opinion, for an individual to be wealthy enough to be qualified to pay zakah, while his parents are really qualified to receive zakah. However, Imam Ibn Qudamah, in his famous book Al-Mughni, brought this, and it's a unanimous position within al-fuqaha that zakah cannot be giving to al-usul, your parents up, grandparents, wal-furu', your kids, grandkids down, وَمَنْ تَجِبُ عَلَيْكَ نَفَقَتُ, and the people that you are responsible to provide for, meaning your wife, in the case of marriage, and a young sister or a brother under your care. The only exceptions, it's an exception Imam Ibn Taymiyyah and some of Al-Hanabila raised when it comes to appearance under the umbrella of Al-Gharimin. Al-Gharimin, they said we have an agreement in Al-Fiqh Al-Islami that we cannot give zakat to the parents if they are fuqara, in the case of fuqara or masakin, because you must provide for them. But in the case, if a parents really reach a position of al-gharimin, means the parents suddenly owes someone a lot of money, according to some scholars, you can give them zakah. You can give them zakah to pay their own debt. However, we continue to carry the unanimous position when in everyday activity, an individual must take care of his parents. Don't be rich while your parents are poor. In the case of zakah between husband and wife, sisters must feel good about this. Sisters, they have the right to give their husband zakah, and the husband cannot give his wife zakah because he is responsible to provide financially for his wife, and she is not. And we have many authentic narration supporting such a position. Ideally speaking, we like for the husband and wife to work collectively and to join each other in a partnership while they help each other, and inshallah Allah will bless the family. One of the questions I received as well, in the case of donation to the Islamic Center. Brother Salah, just to highlight the project they are going to do, can I give in masjid zakah or not? To make it easy without making things complicated, if you want to give any Islamic Center zakah, write a check and put in writing, this is zakah money. This is zakah money. Then you are not responsible about anything. The Islamic Center must, through its religious committee, process this, and if there is certain qualification, I guess they will use the money properly. Because the concept of sabilillah, some of the fuqaha limited to jihad, and we have a very strong argument against this limitation. And zakah can be used in the Islamic Center in a certain area. So to make it short and sweet, write in your check zakah. Zakah, and then the Islamic Center, hopefully they will have a discussion with the imam or with the religious committee handling zakah. I received the questions again, and it's within our context in the West in particular, about the 401k. Questions we receive often, and it's obvious that there is many positions within even America today about 401k. 401k is a money that you have, but lack accessibility. Accessibility is one of the conditions, ownership and accessibility. This is why we find the fuqaha having a diverse position about it, individually, but fortunately the the Fiqh Council reached a resolution in this, which is an opinion, I think, very practical. In their opinion, they said, let us say if I have $100,000 money in my 401k account, and I am underage, I'm not under 18, but I'm under 59 and a half, which is the age while individuals can access their money without penalty or high taxation. In their opinion, it's a very strong opinion really, and I really support people. Let us say I have $100,000 in my account. I will contact my CPA yearly in the time of giving my zakah. The time of zakah, by the way, is not Ramadan. The zakah in Ramadan related only to zakat al-abdan, zakat al-fitr. Zakat al-fitr is the only zakah has an association with Ramadan. The concept that is zakah has to be given in Ramadan, it's a wrong assumption. Sharia designs zakah to be a money the needy having access for throughout the year. Meaning, if I start my business in the month of Rabi' al-Awwal and I become suddenly having enough money to give zakah, then my due date for zakah is Rabi' al-Awwal, not Ramadan. If it's Sha'ban, it's Sha'ban. If it's Ramadan, it's Ramadan. So I don't want everyone to assume that I must give his zakah in Ramadan. Actually, I feel like Sharia purposely expect from us to give his zakah in different time to provide for those needy the year around. If I have $100,000 in my 401k account, and I am not yet in the age of accessing this money, I will contact my CPA, and I will ask him or her, if I were to access this money today, how much I'm going to receive after the taxation and the penalty. They will most likely say to you, it has a relationship with how many kids and all of this, that the taxation issue that you are with. And they will say, you know what, you will receive $55,000 only. And the rest, the 45 will be tax and penalty. Then give zakah in the $55,000 only yearly. 2.5%, this is zakat mal, 2.5%. Yes, I have $100,000 in the account, but I don't have accessibility. If I were to access it today, I don't have 100,000. If you dig into this issue, you will find some scholars are in favor of people giving zakah yearly for the entire account. Some scholars are in the position of giving zakah one time only upon receiving the money then. And one of the strong arguments against such an opinion, people actually can put money in their 401k account. I have the right, We don't have, do you guys have 401k account? We don't have any 401k account. I guess we'll be receiving zakat soon. But if an individual can really send the money to the account, it will be a troubling way of hurting al-fuqara and making someone very wealthy. This is why I support the position of saying, give zakah every year in the amount that you have access for. I received the questions as well about the stock market. Stock market is a money, and you pay for it urud tijara, meaning every year, by the end of the year, in the due date of the zakah, you will contact your CPA and he will say to you, do you know what, the value of your stock today is this amount, you pay zakah according to the value of the date. Because Sharia intend to bring ease. If we will go through the average, it will go up and down. But most of the people will say there is a steady way, especially when talking about the safe investment with the stock market. So you give this every year. One of the very critical questions, and I want to be clear about it and careful here. The people of guidance and the Lariba and the University of Islamic Finance, all of them are trying to give you money to buy homes, which is nice. Islamically speaking, when someone is saying to us, I am about to pay zakah, we always say to him, do you know what? Deduct any debt. So assuming that I have in my account today maybe $20,000, it's above 85 gram of gold, around $4,000 today. Do you know what? But I owe someone money like $5,000. I would deduct this debt. The money you owe in your mortgage cannot be deducted because it's an organized loan. It's an organized loan. If we allow, because for rule in أصول الفقه حاجة بنقول عليها اسمها اعتبار المآلات. اعتبار المآلات الشريعة being mindful of the ultimate outcome. If we allow people to deduct their mortgage from a very good wealth they have, everyone will buy a big house and run away from paying zakah. This is why I want to say, whatever you pay to your house, it's an organized loan. If you pay it off, that's fine. If you don't, and you go with the monthly payment, you cannot deduct the 500,000 you owe from whatever you have when it comes to zakah. We like for people to give each other's money and to help each others in the time of need. But if I were to ask someone to give me $10,000 loan, is he supposed to pay zakah for it or not? Something in the Sharia comes under what we call zakat al-dayn. Zakat al-dayn. Zakat al-dayn, many of the fuqaha will say, if you have access, while this dayn most likely بعكس الدين الذي لا يرجى سداده, most likely you will receive in time. They said, you know what, you can give zakah every year for it. However, Sheikh al-Qaradawi in his book Fiqh al-Zakah and the other scholars as well, they have a good argument saying you can pay zakah one time upon receiving this money. Their best argument is the lack of accessibility, and also if we are going to push people to pay zakah for any money they give anyone, people might choose not to help each other. And the درء المفاسد في الإسلام مقدم على جلب المصالح. Preventing harm takes priority over bringing benefit. This is why you can give zakah upon receiving الدين, upon receiving the amount of money. In this case, we hope that, inshallah, the brothers and sisters will continue to help each other. We aim to create a stable society. The sisters, most of them, if not all, are very proud of the amount of jewelry they have. They always say, you know what, I received this from my husband, and when I get married, and my son or daughter give me this as a gift, should we give zakah or not? I want you in general to keep up certain principle. We will exempt you when it comes to the gift you receive from your husband in the time of marriage. The normal jewelry member of your family wear. The ring for the marriage and all of this. This is one clear point. The other point, People trying to avoid inflation by converting currency to gold, they have to pay zakah 100%. This is a very clear principle. How many? 2 minutes? Whatever. You say stop, I will stop. The people of ICET are tough, want to be careful. It's a beautiful center, and I'm quite excited about the school and the gym and the youth and MashaAllah. May Allah ya akhi put barakah in this place. Allahumma amin. May Allah bless the leadership and the religious leadership, and inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala it will be a beautiful center for our community. Allahumma amin. Allahumma amin. So the sisters has an exemptions when it comes to your normal jewelry, what you wear, but converting money to gold with the business intention, this money you have to pay zakah for no matter what. Also, if a sister would to say, you know what, my husband gives me, he loves me a lot, I'm glad he does, and he is giving me jewelry every year. I said, hold on. Even if you don't have the intention of having a business with your jewelry, we have a limitation, which is the norm within the family. Say a member of my family wear 5,000 worth of gold. Above this, we have to pay zakah, because Sharia is always intend to be mindful of the two sides, the side of the wealthy and the side of the needy. Do you have any quick question in the last 30 seconds? Whatever you want. Sadaqat al-Fitr, if you are going to give Sadaqat al-Fitr to the Islamic Center, in my opinion, do not put the Islamic Center in a bad position. I announce to ICN, I wish that we can all do this. The due date for receiving Sadaqat al-Fitr in the Islamic Center is last Friday. Yes, Al-Eid will be 3 days later, but the Islamic Center has to be able to give his zakah. You cannot, while Imam is going to give khutbah al-Eid, ya Imam, the sunnah is to give al-sadaqah before al-salah. So what can al-Imam do? Jibril is not working for you guys. Sayyidina Jibril, he retired after Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So al-Masajid, Islamic Center does not have the mechanism to send the zakat to the needy. At least we can give them 3 days. So if you are going to give Sadaqat al-Fitr to the masjid, you can do this. The masjid will handle it, but give the masjid some time. Sadaqat al-Fitr is a mandatory zakah. In my opinion, must be given in behalf of each member of the family. If you want to give it food, you can do that. If you want to adopt to the Ahnaf opinion, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz practice and others, you can do this. It's equivalent to what today will be like this year will be $10. $10 for each member of the family. I have 5 members. There is no age here. If someone is being born before the sun set in the last day of Ramadan, the family must give zakah in his or her behalf. So if you have a family of 5, it's $50. Give it to the Islamic Center. Give the Islamic Center time to give his zakah to the needy. Jazakumullahu khairan for listening, and Jazakumullahu khairan for giving me the opportunity.
They say, do not give a mic to an imam, because it will take a little longer. Do not give a phone to, I will leave that, dash. Don't want to be in trouble for that. Yeah. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll have Q&A panel. Hope Sheikh Osama tomorrow, the last session, you can join us around this time, inshallah, 8:30. Okay. Then they will email it to you, inshallah. Inshallah. We must give our sponsor tonight, Guidance Residential. Otherwise, we wouldn't have, without their sponsor. 3 minutes, then we will go, inshallah, and pray.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Actually, I will take less than 3 minutes. I just want to thank everybody for joining this wonderful program. Guidance Residential is an Islamic finance company that help people to buy homes without riba. I would like to announce to everybody here that, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Guidance Residential signed a lease agreement, and now we have officially an office here inside the Islamic Center of Tennessee, and it's in the 2nd floor. So alhamdulillah, that will give us a great opportunity to serve our community, because we didn't have the option to help customers to get the benefit from a program that is the government of Tennessee, the state of Tennessee, would give it to any company that has an office, physical office, which is a down payment assistant. Down payment assistant basically means that people can be eligible for zero down payment, but you have to have a mortgage company that has an office in Tennessee. So alhamdulillah, jazakumullahu khairan for the Islamic Center of Tennessee to accept that we have an office here. And alhamdulillah, we'd like always to support the cause, and we sponsor the Islamic school in Nashville. We sponsor any activity that can be possible to give back to the community. Wa jazakumullahu khairan for supporting us. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah, thank you all for coming. Thank you to the Da'wah committee who put this program together. Tomorrow we'll start at 5, inshallah. Please pray Asr with us at 4:45 so that we can, inshallah, start another sessions, inshallah, and we'll continue to the end, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.